Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my videos. So this year I'm not doing vlogmas. If you've been on YouTube for a while, you probably know that vlogmas is where creators basically post a video every single day of sort of what they are doing with the season. But I do have exams, so I don't really have time for that. But I am sort of trying to find different things to show on here. I would hope to do a holiday Christmas haul of all of my festive outfits. I'm trying to sort of line them up a little bit from now. So do stay tuned for that. But in today's video, I just want to basically do, I guess, a Canadian story time. If you guys have been following this channel for a while, you will know that I am actually Canadian, and I did spend certainly my early 20s there. So I did go to college in Montreal, not college in the American sense. I went to university in the UK, but I did go to college itself in Montreal. So this is a story from my college days in Montreal, and it basically, I think, is a story that every single Montreal sort of early 20s, late teen has had. So this was, I believe, in January, just before the semester restarted. And I think it was January because I know there was snow on the ground. Those of you who have been in Montreal maybe in the last decade know that sometimes there is snow on the ground, sometimes there's not snow on the ground, but there was snow on the ground, so I would assume that it was after Christmas Day itself, where typically, yes, it is cold, sometimes you have a bit of snow, but it's still typically just about too hot for it to form that, nice white layer and maybe not so nice sort of film of ice. But I believe this was in January, and the semester had not quite started up there as yet. So we were looking for something to do, my friends and I, and we decided to go toboganning in the middle of the night. So if you know what toboganning is, basically it's not skiing at all by any stretch of the imagination. Kids do it. Toboganning is where you basically sit on a flat surface. It could be a carpet, it could be plastic. You sit on a flat surface and you sort of glide down a snowy hill or snowy mountain, whatever it is. We wanted to go skiing, but only two of us had skis, so that didn't really happen. As I said, this was the middle of the night. We had nothing to do. I think some places may have been closed. I'm not sure what day it was, but I just know that it was like 10 p.m. and it was if you've been to, I would assume, any parts of Canada really, but if you've been to Montreal in those colder months, you know that when I say it was cold, it was cold. I'll get back to that later. But we decided that we would go tobogganing downtown Montreal. So if you know downtown Montreal, it has a lot of pockets of green, and there is a park rather, which typically people would use for skiing. But the hill was not cordoned off or whatever. It's a hill with snow on it. You could do what you want. So we got some tobogganing stuff, some makeshift, some not. Okay. My friend's sister actually lent me her ski suit because you can't be in the snow in, regular sort of apparel because it's gonna get wet and you're gonna get sick after a while. outfit of the day, which I did not really start with. This is actually I guess just a sweater from Victoria's Secret. I really love this this material. It's very soft, it's almost tissue-like. And my Lululemon leggings that have practically traveled the world with me at this point. So that is the outfit of the day. And of course, my you know, I am short, so I call this an elf hat. But this is my Christmas hat, okay? Not much to speak of with the outfits of the day today. So we eventually got to this place, right? And it was just a lot of fun, basically. We had a classic snowball fight. If you've ever seen any sort of movie based in North America, they always have snowball fights where basically you just pick the snow up off the ground and you like fling it at one another. And what made this cool is because there was nobody else there. Like, as I said, it was the middle of the night. We were just a couple college kids looking for something to do that did not involve, anything like alcohol or whatever. We weren't trying to have a party. We just wanted to go out and experience the city, I guess. So, we had like a snowball fight, and it was cool because typically if there are people walking past, if they're kids, you don't really want to be throwing snowballs at each other. Canadians are polite, okay? We don't really want to be hitting people who we did not intend to hit. So it was just a lot of fun. It was pretty dark as well. But snow does something magical when it's dark and there's, low light. It looks very sparkly. It looks like glitter on the floor, on the ground rather. So it was just an incredible memory to actually have. And at some point, basically what happened was that one of my friends went up to the top of the hill, and he was just sort of like, getting ready to go down the hill, and one of the other guys pushed him down. It was me, a girl, and two guys basically. And one of the guys pushed another one down the hill, and it was hilarious because he wasn't ready. So he kind of like grabbed onto the toboggan in the beginning, and he could not really grip onto it, so he sort of ended up rolling down the hill. All fun and games, okay? No one was injured. Snow is pretty soft. They keep the hill maintained because they expect people to be on it. So it's not like there were rocks or anything under there for him to really hit, but it was just funny because he wasn't ready. So on the way back home, it was kind of creepy, to be rather honest, because we were out there alone at that hour. And we were out there alone because if you have ever driven in incredibly cold temperatures, you know that cars literally struggle in the snow, right? Particularly, like, ironically, European cars are not really meant for Montreal temperatures, right? So cars really struggle, and in addition to the actual mechanisms, the mechanics sort of freezing in the car and making it difficult to drive, the actual road is typically coated with black ice. And I'm sure you've all seen the videos circulating online now of cars literally skidding down hills because, in addition to the car being too cold for the mechanisms to really work properly, you also have black ice or some kind of ice, and that just makes braking all the more difficult. So it was freezing cold, may have been negative 30 degrees, right? There were a couple winters, and I think that's pretty average in Montreal by now, where it's negative 30 degrees. So basically, the car was struggling to drive even on the flat, far less up hills, right? And it was really getting to a concerning point because the car sort of, it was sort of like feeling like it was gonna stall. And if we stalled out there, right, and the car already isn't working, we would have been in trouble because if you don't have heating, fill it in, right? It was not looking great. It was a relatively concerning situation. But eventually we did kind of make it. We made it off of the main highway, and guess where we went? If you're Canadian, guess where we went? This is the most Canadian part of the story. Forget the tobogganing, forget the ski suit, forget the snowball fight, forget all that. This is the most Canadian part of the story. So if you're Canadian, guess where we went? So we actually ended up going to a Tim Hortons at that hour. It must have been maybe after midnight. But as I said, it was so cold outside and it was practically empty. Like there was no one on the roads, there was no one in any sort of restaurants or fast food places. So we went through the Timmy's drive-through, and basically we started like making our order. I usually go for a French vanilla, a double, okay. And we just wanted like maybe 6 Timmy'S each.
They're raving about the coffee here. Also was told that I needed to try Timbits, so I got a variety of that along with black coffee. The Timbits were like donut holes, but way denser. It almost felt like I was eating sugary Jamaican fried dumplings.
Ooh, I was not expecting that strawberry inside.
I tried each one, and my favorite was a tie between the strawberry and the chocolate one. Coffee was also good. Then I felt like I needed to combine both, so I did.
I'm not sure if they still make Timmy'S, but we just wanted, something to warm us up because we were in the cold and we were like literally rolling around in the snow and doing all this other nonsense and snowball fights and whatever. So we were cold, right? So we just wanted to warm up in some way and have like a bite. And it was so empty and it was so late beyond midnight. They were sure that they weren't going to have another rush. So basically, they gave us maybe literally 100 Timbits in a huge box in addition to our coffee, and we just got those for free. We got the Timbits, like the donut holes for the international viewers who have never been to Tim Hortons, right? We got the donut holes, an assortment, because they're like chocolate something. I don't like the chocolate one for whatever reason. I think it has an aftertaste. There's like honey. I used to love birthday cake Timbits, honestly. Yeah, so we got like an assortment and we had like a whole bunch, and it was 4 of us. So we basically kind of, split them up, and everybody took as much as they wanted. And, that basically was the story. But it was actually so cold that the next day they closed certain parts of the road because the ice had gotten so bad. So if you know Canada, they don't care about ice, they don't care about snow. It's a regular day for us. We go about, we slip fall how many times on the pavement, and we just keep about our business, really. We're all accustomed to it. But it was actually so cold that they had to close part of the road where we were because it was like it could have very foreseeably created accidents, and they didn't really want like traffic pileups because there were accidents, because they could have foreseen that there was just like this huge amount of ice on the road. So I ended up, with free dessert the next day, with the extra Timbits that I got. And it will always be a core memory for me. Unfortunately, I think I'm just one of those, I don't want to say white Christmas people, but if you've lived somewhere where it snows and then you go somewhere where it doesn't, it just genuinely feels like something is missing when there is snow. So, I'm not saying it's not Christmas unless it snows, but I am saying that you notice something missing when there is no, you can't have like those magical snowball fights type memories, because it just doesn't. In England's case, it does get very cold, but it continues to be wet, which doesn't really, it doesn't give the same magic that Christmas is typically supposed to give, if you ask me. So that'll be it for this story time. Please let me know in the comments, what are some of your bigger Christmas memories? And if you are Canadian, have you had a similar experience where you've done what I did, like after a long night of being in the snow, you just went and you had like some some Timmy's, and they did the Canadian thing and they gave you free free Timbits. So that'll be it, and I'll see you in the next one.